Hey everyone, this is Jeremy J. And instead of just doing a video topic today where I just say a topic and start talking about it, I just want to talk to you like we were having a conversation. Like if you were sitting here talking to me, this is kind of like how it would be to talk to me. And so the first thing that I was thinking about this morning as I got up, I felt very grateful. Like I feel very grateful for the things I have in my life. And I even feel grateful for the struggles I have, the things that are hard, the things that take effort and just relentlessness to try and get. And I have two daughters. I'm very, very happy to be a dad. Two daughters, two wonderful daughters. And they're here. They stay at my house every other weekend, or my apartment here. I have a basement apartment. And they stay here every other weekend. And I was telling them a story last night. And I just made it up. All the stories I tell them I usually make up, but I base it off stuff I already know. And I was telling them about a version. I have many versions of this story of the blacksmith and the unicorn. And the version that I shared with them was how there was a blacksmith in a town, and there was word of a unicorn by a lake nearby that would be spotted sometimes. And then each time the unicorn was spotted, some of the townspeople would try and go capture it or go near it. They would go approach the unicorn and try and get it. And the unicorn would scamper off and disappear every time that happened. But this blacksmith, who provided the town with supplies and weapons and armor and all these things, he went to the lake, but he didn't walk toward the unicorn. He just stood at the edge of the lake and saw the unicorn on the other side. And he just stood there. He didn't go after it. He just let the unicorn be and observed it. He became an observer of the unicorn. And so as he did this, the unicorn nodded and looked at him. And my girls love that part. They love unicorns, so their eyes were like, whoa, a unicorn. And it was a yellow unicorn, and it had a white horn on its head. And they were just so enamored with the possibility that there could be a unicorn somewhere. It was awesome. And then the blacksmith did that. And as he did that, then he would see townspeople come along the edge of the lake and chase the unicorn away. And not that they were trying to chase it away, they were just trying to get the unicorn. And so the blacksmith realized that he needed to go by the lake. He was going to try to go to the lake at a time when the people were asleep, so he went at night, like midnight or sometime at night. And the moon shined on the lake, and there was still visible light. And at nighttime, he saw the unicorn across the lake, and the unicorn nodded at him, and the blacksmith nodded back at the unicorn. We'll say it was a female unicorn. And the blacksmith did that for 7 days in a row. Went to the lake every night, saw the unicorn. They both acknowledged each other's presence, but the blacksmith just simply nodded without any kind of approach. Enough of an approach, I call it, not a full approach. And then on the 7th day, the blacksmith did that, and the unicorn saw the blacksmith and trotted halfway around the lake. So the blacksmith turned and acknowledged the unicorn, but didn't approach the unicorn, just acknowledged it again, and the unicorn did the same. And that went on for 30 days. And then on the 30th day, the unicorn did the same thing, except it began walking more than halfway. It got within 10 feet of the blacksmith. When I was telling my girls that the unicorn was in 10 feet of the blacksmith, they were just like, whoa. Like, it was so cool to see. And the blacksmith still stood his ground. He didn't flinch. He didn't try and grab the unicorn. He just stood his ground and looked at it with strength in his eyes. And the unicorn got closer and closer until it was 2 feet away. It was like right there. The blacksmith could have reached out and touched it. And the blacksmith still didn't do anything except stand his ground. And then my girls were like on the edge of their seat, like, what's going to happen? And the unicorn approaches the blacksmith and gets right in front of him, right in front of him. And the unicorn puts its head down. And this is a convenient time to get a phone call. Hang on. I'm going to decline the call. And there we go. Okay, back to the story. So the unicorn right next to the blacksmith puts its head down. The unicorn might have even had a poofy thing like this in the back of its mane. And then the blacksmith reached out and put his hand out and let the unicorn sniff his hand, and then slowly brushed the unicorn on its mane. Very softly, very slowly. And then after a few minutes, the unicorn lifted up its head again, slowly backed away and nodded, and trotted back along the lake, out of sight. Now, this is part one of the story. I have 2 more parts to this story. But the first part was really good. And I talked to my girls about it. And they said, did you learn anything from this story? And my 7-year-old said, I learned how to capture a unicorn. You can't go after it. You've got to be firm on your ground and not be aggressive. And that was a really insightful remark from a 7-year-old to say that. Really insightful. That was the point I was trying to make, is that there's some things in life, things that are important, oftentimes you have to stand your ground where you're at, make your presence known. But if you're too forceful, they'll slip through your fingers like sand. But if you show your presence, without being too forceful, but just show your strong presence, then oftentimes the things you want in your life will come to you. They'll just come to you. And I've noticed that in my life. When I am planted solidly with what I'm doing, very confident but humble, sure of myself, that things unfold in a way that is almost magic. That's the best way I can describe it. So that's the story of the blacksmith and the unicorn. Another thing I want to talk to you about is that I got this recently. You might have seen this in the background, and I'll show you what this is. I love medieval weapons. This is a claymore sword. Like, I can't even. It's a great sword. I mean, it's a big sword. I don't know how to describe it. You would need 2 hands to wield this and be pretty strong. This isn't quite exactly like a claymore. It's made to be a little bit lighter. A real claymore sword would be heavier. Also, these edges are dull by design, so you don't stab yourself. But I could sharpen these. Edges and make it a very lethal sword. But I don't know. I love medieval weapons. And the reason I love medieval weapons is because I look at them like as human ingenuity for the time. Like, what did humans need to create at the time to solve their problems for warfare? And the claymore is not the only medieval weapon. There's many other medieval weapons. There's daggers, there's halberds. A halberd's a really long pole, and it's got an axe head and then a hook on the other side. And there's spears, and there's pikes, shields, armor, longbows, all these things. And in each of these weapons, and there's plenty more than that, each of these things solved a specific need. They helped solve a problem. And I like it because it shows human ingenuity. The claymore solves the problem of dispatching people very quickly. Have you ever seen the movie Braveheart? And you see William Wallace in the movie Braveheart. He's got one of these bad boys. He's got a claymore sword. And he uses it to great effect. The claymore is not the only weapon, and it's not always the best weapon for the situation. But It's a very potent medieval weapon. And so that's something I also wanted to show you, talk about. So let me put this back on. I'll put this back in the corner. So we've got a story of the blacksmith and the unicorn, part 1. Claymore, sword, medieval weapons. Weekends, I love weekends. I love the week as well. The weekends are great because it's a time to sort of detach from the day-to-day work. Most people work during the day, and for me it's a nice time to do some other things that I like to do and spend it with my kids when they're here and that kind of thing. I'm looking forward to work tomorrow. I don't know how many of you look forward to going into work, but I actually look forward to going into work. There's a number of challenges that are surfacing themselves at work that need to be solved and overcome. Not easy stuff, really hard challenges. And that kind of stuff drives me, trying to find a resolution, trying to create a solution. Like the medieval weapons, they were created to solve various problems. The pikes, the long spears and the halberds were created to counter horsemen or cavalry or knights on horseback. And you can see that in the movie Braveheart as well. They made these really long spears to stop a horse charge by the English army. And so I like medieval weapons. What can I say? What else? So look forward to going into work. If you're not looking forward to going into work, try looking at it from a perspective of someone who owns the business that you work for. If you were to own that business, how would you be thinking? Would you be just sitting back, not being involved? I don't know. I don't think you would want to do that, but you start to ask yourself different questions when you think like a business owner, even at your place of employment. Even if you're just a burger maker or a call center person, it doesn't matter what you are. Think of it like you own the business, and your mind will all of a sudden start asking questions. Oh, if I own this business, is it making money? How do we make money in this business? Why do people buy what we have? All these questions start to surface, and then you start thinking about those things. And you just may come up with something that helps contribute to that, and that's valuable. And if you do that, people see that, and all of a sudden your value goes up, your job security goes up, your pay probably will go up, that kind of thing. So think about that. So there you go. I think this is my longest video to date, over 13 minutes now. So I just wanted to talk about a few things: blacksmith and unicorn, medieval weapons, claymore, and looking forward to the work week and enjoying your weekends. So this is Jeremy J. Just wanted to do a video like I was having a dialogue with you or a conversation and share some things that are on my mind. I will talk to you again next time.